Hi and hello everyone. I welcome you all to this presentation. I am Akila, lecturer, Department of English, SF, Sri Ramaswamy College, Trichy. In this video, I am going to briefly summarize the story The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde. The author of the story is Oscar Wilde. He was an Irish poet, playwright and author. He is known for his wit and moral stories. This story, The Selfish Giant, is from The Happy Prince and Other Tales. In this slide, you can see the characters of the story. The giant, who is very selfish at the beginning of the story and became kind at the end of the story. Then we have innocent children, little boy, who is the divine figure of the story. Then we have nature. Here are the themes of the story: selfishness versus generosity, redemption and change, innocence of children, spiritual salvation, love and compassion. The Selfish Giant by Oscar Wilde is a story about a giant who disliked anyone playing in his garden. Upon finding the children playing in his garden, he scared them away, built high walls around it, and put up a notice board saying, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." The story tells us about the giant's transformation from being selfish to kind and how he earned himself a place in paradise. The selfish giant owns a garden where every afternoon after the school, children would come and play. It was a large garden with soft green grass, 12 peach trees that bore fruit in autumn and flowers that came out of the grass. The birds would sing in the garden and children would stop their games in order to listen to them. Suddenly, the giant came back one day and scared all the children away. He had been on a visit to his friend, the Cornish ogre, for 7 years. As he saw the children playing, he told them that no one except him can play in the garden, and built huge wall around it. He put up a notice board saying, "Trespassers will be prosecuted." He was a very selfish giant. Now, the poor children had nowhere to play. They tried playing on the road, but it was too dusty and filled with hard rocks. The children began to remember how happy they were when they played in the garden. Then came the spring season all across the country, but in the giant's garden it was still winter. The only residents in his garden were frost and the snow that covered the trees and grass. They invited the north wind over, who came wrapped in fur and rode all about the garden. They thought it was a delightful place and invited the hare who came dressed in grey. Even autumn refused to come as she thought that the giant was too selfish. One morning, as the giant laid awake in his bed, he heard some lovely music. He thought that the king's musicians were passing by, but in reality it was the linnet song that sounded so sweet. As the giant woke up to see, he saw the most wonderful sight. The children had crept in through a small hole in the wall. With them in the garden, the trees were happy, the birds had come back, the flowers grew out of the ground, and finally the spring came to his garden. But in the corner of the garden there was still winter. As he tried to look, he saw a little boy who was so short that he could not reach one of the branches of the tree. The giant ran to help him, but instead scared all the kids away. Only the boy in the corner had stayed because he could not see the approaching giant because his eyes were filled with tears. The giant helped him climb the tree, and the little boy hugged and kissed him in return. Now the giant broke down the wall and opened the garden for kids. Every afternoon, children would come to play with him after the school. The giant kept looking for that boy he once helped, but unfortunately he never came and no one knew about him. Years passed by and the giant grew old and weak. He now only watched the children play. One winter morning, as he looked out of his window, he saw a marvelous sight. In the farthest corner of the garden, the tree was covered with white blossoms. Its branches were golden and it bore silver fruit. Under the tree, he saw the little boy that he once helped. Joyously, he went downstairs and into the garden to meet him, but as soon as he went near him, the giant grew angry. The child had imprints of 2 nails on his hands and 2 on his little feet. The giant asked the kid the name of the person who wounded him. The child told him that those were the wounds of love. Instantly, the giant was struck with awe and he knelt before the child. The little child told him that once he allowed him to play in his garden, now it was time for the giant to come in his garden, which is paradise. In the afternoon, when the children came to play in the giant's garden, they found the giant lying lifeless on the ground with white blossoms all over him. The story ends here. Moral of the story: happiness comes from sharing. Selfishness brings loneliness. Redemption through kindness. The Selfish Giant is a heartwarming story with deep moral and spiritual insight. The author, Oscar Wilde, uses a simple fairy tale to teach profound lessons. I hope you all enjoyed this story. Thank you for watching.